Welcome to Team Roping or Roping Tips with Trevor. Team Roping
Team
Tips.
Roping with Trev. I love
Team
it.
Roping with Trev. Featuring debuting Dale Brisby's first roping outing. I'm going to represent you guys. All right, I'm asking questions that I already know the answer to, but you're wondering. So I'm going to ask them for you. So just keep that in mind. If it sounds like I don't know something, just
Because you're being humble.
Exactly. Assume that I actually know it. First off, why do I need to wear this glove?
Well, it's not as much for today as it will be. You kind of want to just get a feel of it, because when you transition to a horse, which you probably already do, but for those of you who don't, when you're dallying and the rope slides at all, you're not burning your hand every time. And
so it's mainly for the dally.
it's mainly for the dally, but team ropers, once you've started roping with them, you don't ever. I know guys that won't even swing a rope without a glove on. I'm a little bit different because I do multiple events and only one of them has a glove, and so I use a different type of glove. Most people, this glove is like more barehanded. That is a slicker glove, and I tend to feed a little bit too much with the cotton glove, and that's why
So you're saying my bull riding glove would work?
your bull, yeah, minus the rosin probably.
Okay.
Yeah, just go easy on the rosin that day. Let's just start with your normal loop, and we'll go from there of how you think the normal public might throw their first loop, and
Right.
we'll go from there.
So this is how I think you guys would rope. All right. Are we feeding slack? Are we going that advanced? Feeding it?
Yeah.
And is that what we call it?
Feeding it. Yeah.
Feeding
exactly.
it? Okay. All right. And I'm just gonna stand to the left of it a little bit.
Yeah, you're doing great. Your position looks good.
That's how you guys would typically miss.
And the only reason that me and him would know you guys would typically miss is because he held on to his coil right there and just didn't have enough rope to cover the horns. Sorry.
You're excused.
Boom.
That's how I would catch,
Exactly.
and where I wouldn't.
Just to show y'all that was y'all and that was him.
Yeah, the first one was you guys. The second one was me.
Perfect.
But what did they do wrong on the first one?
On the first one, it was the same swing and everything that you did when you caught it. It was, but you released this coil enough to get it to your target. The first time, it just stopped because you were real rigid with your hand right there and didn't either release the coil or let it slide.
Would two gloves help?
No,
No.
not in this instance.
No, not at all. Okay.
No, but for the beginners out there, make sure, because you probably don't need to be letting go of this coil or getting stung by a bee, that you're close enough to where when you release your rope, you can cover the horns without releasing the coil. So for the beginners out there, Dale, go just a little closer so that you don't have to release.
See,
the coil.
that's what I'm used to. Boone being right on top of them.
For the money. That's right.
That way I don't have to release the coils.
Perfect.
So why not just start with a bigger loop? What's the benefit of feeding?
Well, that's a good question, because I mean it's something a lot of beginners struggle with. And when you're feeding, when you start your loop, you want this strand to be on the left of the knot, but as it comes back through your hand, it switches to the right back here. So
Did not know that.
yeah, the strand ends up running on the outside so that you can feed your rope easier. If you keep it on the inside, it's harder to feed, and it's a habit I have to break from a lot of beginners. So, but to answer your question, the reason we feed is it keeps our loop real manageable at the beginning. So if you're just taking one or two swings, you're not having to get this big loop started right off the bat.
Yes,
It takes more effort. So you can have a more precise and controlled first swing pointed at your target, and then on the second swing, feed it to where it's balanced. And that's just a feel. You'll have to learn a balanced feel, because I can go to here and feed the same amount and my loop is not balanced. And so it's just trial and error to where you learn to get your spoke right, and your spoke is the distance from your Honda to your hand. That's what everybody refers to as the spoke of the rope. And you just want to get that balanced, and the reason for feeding is so that you can start your loop fast and have it pointed where you want, feed it to the size and balance that you need.
So when you say balance, you mean just the relationship between the size of the loop and the spoke?
Yes, because so if I was going to go right there, I'm a balanced loop. If I feed it this big, I'm going to need to back my spoke up to balance that loop.
It looks like your spoke is about a quarter of the loop. Is that right? Or is that not how you're measuring whether or not it's balanced?
It's a really good question. As far as like exact figures, I'm not good at, but y'all can be the judge of that. Right there is a balanced loop and the spoke that's needed for it. So it would probably be really close to a quarter. It's about halfway down, right in the middle of the top. I learn something every day. Good job.
You're welcome, Trevor Brazile.
I'm glad you're here.
So as far as, and I know we're probably skipping over a lot of stuff, but now the swing, as far as whenever you're swinging your rope, I was told you put the basketball on your elbow and then your hand goes around it. Is that at all close to
How do you
something?
keep the basketball from falling off?
Well, it's a metaphorical basketball. Keep up with me here.
Yeah. Well, most of the mistakes I see right off the bat are people want to rope with their right foot forward.
Which I did purposely in that first.
Thank you for that, because that's what made me pick this out for the other guys.
But your horse is going to be in a left lead.
Exactly. And so anybody that's rode a horse knows that when you're loping your horse around, whichever lead he's in, you will feel that foot shift forward. And so it's not only for safety, but for multiple reasons. You want your horse predominantly in the left lead, heading or heeling. And so that's why I approach the dummy with my left foot forward, at least by a little bit, because number one, that's the way the horse should be running to the steer, and it opens your shoulders up more to the steer. So if I set my right foot forward, I will naturally won't be able to have much room to the right. You know, I'll be having to point here, and if the steer moves right at all, I can't adjust. Whereas when I'm open here, my shoulders are open for this much territory instead of this much, because all the room you have over here doesn't do you any good when you're roping your target over here anyway. So left foot forward, I'd like to keep my elbow back just a little bit more than you showed them what they were doing a while ago, for the same reason of it open. I'm just trying to keep my chest wide, keep it open, and keep a lot of room for error so that I can cover a lot of area, whether the steer's right, left, whatever's happening, I'm in control of this area. Elbow back just a little bit, a smooth, level swing.
And delivery, when it leaves your hand, how similar is it to throwing a baseball?
In the tie-down roping, it's pretty similar. This is going to be not as similar. When there's two different ways to rope horns. You can rope right to left, to where you just carry it across with your pinky down and your thumb up, swiping it across. Or there's roping both horns at the same time, is what most people watch guys at the national finals, or most people rope like this that you'll see on TV when they're swinging, and they're basically covering their delivery instead of coming across like that. It is, if anything, I'd rather have your pinky slanted a little bit versus your thumb. If you ever have your thumb down too much, you have a chance of missing the right horn.
So is it a style preference?
Yes. Well, yes. You either rope both horns at the same time, or you rope them right to left, one at a time, like that. Beginners learning their loop, this is always the way most people learn it. And I think it's really important to get to learn your rope, because you just learn how to cover the horns. But you can't do that from this position. That certain style, right to left, comes with this position only. And roping both horns at the same time, that's what you see people that are reaching doing, whether it's from this distance or from out wide, anything other than that one position, you're going to be roping both horns at the same time. And when I'm roping both horns at the same time, my target is the base of this left horn right here. I'm going to deliver flat, a good delivery just like this, and a flat swing, and that should work.
Will you ever change it? Like, so if you found yourself in this position, do you rope from right to left, or do you always do?
Majority of the time, I rope both horns at the same time. But you have to have this in your bag of tricks, because when you've been in scenarios where I've seen Jake Barnes or Speedy or any of the greats just have to go catch. They've dominated all day, and the short round fall apart. And when they go to this position to where they've got the tip of their rope outside the tip of the right horn, so that it's basically already caught. All they've got to do is come out of their swing and cover the horns.
Gotcha.
But you just don't have that luxury when you're trying to be 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. And when you're climbing that ladder of becoming a better roper daily, it's that natural evolution of roping both horns at the same time from different positions. And that's the only style that really fits that broad of position.
So, to wrap it up, I know this is a loaded question, but what are some of those reasons, and I know they'll back up to everything, but the most common reason for a miss by a veteran? Like, what's something that's going to lead somebody who knows all these fundamentals? Like, what are some of the most common reasons for those misses?
Just trying to take the next step ahead. You know, it gets so fast. They're moving their horse, or they're just trying to take any room for error out. Like, they've already started the next step before they create or finish the step that they were on. But what I went over earlier, from roping right to left to roping both horns at the same time, they're two different styles that come with two different positions, two different targets. And the most common mistake I see intermediate ropers make are not having a clear objective when they leave. They really don't know what they're looking at. They really don't know their target. Everybody that comes through my system, I want them to know what style they use, and with that style, what's their target. And so when the music gets loud, when it's short round time, when they've just kind of been relaxing, having fun all day, but all of a sudden it's serious business, they know in their mind how they're going to rope that steer, where they're going to look at their target and just be able to go execute. But when those things aren't clear in your mind, that's when all the pressure, that's when all the noise and all that begins to affect you, because you don't have that great blueprint of how you execute your run in those situations.
I mean, I already felt like I was great, but now I feel like I'm a little bit more great.
And look, I appreciate you giving me my spoke ratio. Now, there's no telling, man, if I would have met you 10 years ago, where could I have been?